Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our special social event that we are calling the Bootcamp Bash. Let me throw the banner up on the screen. And with me, listen to all the celebration, all the festivity. You can see the party hat. We're here for a party, and we've got the best and brightest AWAI has to offer in order to celebrate this big event. Let's start off by introducing each one of them, starting with the president herself, Rebecca Matter. How you doing, Rebecca?
Hi, Jake. Hi, everybody. I'm not sure about best and brightest, but we are definitely the most enthusiastic.
We win that prize.
Definitely going to bring the energy. And her partner in crime, as she calls her, your cohort, the co-founder of AWAI, Katie Akel.
Hi, Jake. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. Let's talk bootcamp.
Yeah.
We are going to talk bootcamp with those two. We also have the head of our training team, the wonderful Jade Trueblood. Jade, you're sometimes the host in these, and you're actually the expert on this one. So it's a swap for you. Role reversal.
This is. I just get to sit back and party today. I am excited, Jake. I cannot wait to talk bootcamp. Amazing. I can't wait to get into it.
And finally, we have another person who does sometimes host, but today she's got a lot of insight herself. Bonnie Fanning, I love the party hat.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank
everybody.
Thank you to everybody, all of our guests today for making some time to talk about bootcamp, and thank you to everybody watching. And then obviously in the backstage, we have Melissa. So big shout out to her for all the help that she does. We're going to dive right in, and we're going to talk all things bootcamp. Some information went out last week, so some of you have already been lucky enough to learn a little bit about bootcamp, but we wanted to come on and elaborate about it. First and foremost, we want to talk about the experience this year. Rebecca, I have heard that everything is going all virtual this year, and we are focusing on a new revolutionary experience.
We are, and what's so funny is you said some people might have already heard about it. We have record attendance, like double numbers of record attendance this year. This is the year to come to bootcamp because you can from anywhere in the world. We've made the decision, the hard decision to go straight virtual this year, but it's such a plus. The training team was like, all right, well, let us show you our plan B then, because it's even bigger than plan A. So they were so excited. We have this amazing interactive platform that we thought we would invest in it anyways. For those who are at home, we thought this is going to be our year. We're going to make an amazing virtual experience, and it has more bells and whistles than we could have ever imagined. This is going to be a fully interactive event. We were just talking about it before the show. Where are all my introverts at? The people who don't like to walk up to the microphone and ask their questions. The people who aren't the ones who are like, hey, I'm interested in that topic. Does anybody want to have a conversation about it? Or I don't like to go up to the groups in the lobbies and things. You are who I'm talking to right now, because this session, the series now, we're all going to be there together. We're all going to be live. Someone takes the stage, right? Like someone like Scott Stratton, our keynote speaker. Let's say he's talking about something that you're so passionate about, or you have a question. You don't have to walk up to a mic. You can just post your question and the moderators will make sure it gets answered. Let's say he says something that you're like, that's so interesting. I wish I could dive deeper. Who wants to talk about that thing? You can post it, create a room, and move into a room of like-minded writers who want to keep talking about that same thing. And you can invite the expert. You can invite Katie. You can invite whoever you want into that room to be able to continue the conversation. It's going to be, hands down, best bootcamp ever, just from that little change alone. But wait, there's more. Who wants to talk about the double events? Because that's pretty much, are we talking about that now, or should we not even?
Yeah, I feel like it's a big benefit to okay, so let's peel back the curtain even more. I think that we have a new player on the training team who has challenged us to make this even better than any best boot camps we've ever had. And she was like, okay, all the things that you could not do before because it was hybrid or because it was in person, let's take all that down and let's just do everything that we possibly can. So it's like, okay, well, number one, we need more time, right? We need more. We don't just need one afternoon of getting clients and a few training sessions in between. Let's just do a whole big event just for that. And so we blew it up and we expanded it and we doubled it and we just did more. So
imagine being a new player on a team like this. You guys have been on AWAI for a while. Imagine coming into a meeting with Katie Akel, first meeting that you're holding with her, and me and Jade, and putting up a PowerPoint slide that says, you know that bootcamp thing that you guys run every year? So I got a little bit of an idea. What if we put it into two events, and one focused on skill and one focused on getting clients? And she made this whole presentation. At the end, Katie and I are like, Yeah, that's a really good idea. We should do that.
Yeah, done. Let's do it. And what I love about it so much is, boot camp it's so immersive. It's so great. You're learning so much. It's, people say it's like, drinking from the fire hose, and it's so great. But it's a lot. And this way, by breaking this into these two distinct themes, of the first one being skill building, and then everybody's going to have a minute to catch their breath. They're going to have a few days, and then they're going to come back and be able to really absorb the getting client portion of this in a way that just would not be possible anyway. I think it's really the best of every possible situation. And the other thing is it's always so hard to say goodbye at the end of boot camp. So now it's like, okay, see you next week. Which, okay, we can all do that, right? But I think the way that things are going to be layered in, and the way that everybody's going to be able to just be focused on what's going on at that moment is going to be a huge benefit for everybody.
I think it's also just like the evolution of everything, right? AWI changes. I emailed someone the other day. I'm like, we move so fast within a year. And lately it seems like within months, everything changes constantly. It was like, though, we planned boot camp back in 2019 to have it in 2020. And then the pandemic hit and we had to push pause. And then when we decided, okay, let's do it this year, where we pushed play, we did not pick up where we were. We picked up where we are. Yeah. And where we are wasn't where we were. A totally different day, right? The demand for writers was awesome then. It's hella awesome now. Like, now is where you want to be a writer. The demand is so much greater than when we looked at boot camp and job fair, the way we used to do job fair. We're like, oh, we could bring 40 marketers into a ballroom and have 3 hours of conversation, or we could bring like hundreds of jobs to people and have it over 3 days. And that would be way better, right? And it just was like, how have we not thought of this before? Yes, you're still going to be able to talk to marketers. And the way we're doing it is actually better than in the past. It was 40 people in a room in this job fair, right? And you would walk up and, hi, my name is Rebecca Matter. I'm a writer. You're looking to hire writers. Great. I'll get back to you when I get home, right? That was basically it. What we're doing now are these things called marketer roundtables. You're going to be hearing from 4 or 5 marketers at a time, all the conversations that you wish you had thought to ask, the questions, the ones you wished you had been behind the person who asked all the questions. We're going to ask all these questions and really get the marketers telling you, this is what I want. Here's what I'm looking for. It's this skill set. I want these kind of projects. I'm looking for writers who are excited about this topic or have this experience. You'll be able to hear from all of the marketers, and then you'll be able to follow up with not, hi, my name is Rebecca and I'm a copywriter, but rather, hi, my name is Rebecca. I heard you were looking for blogs on A, B, and C. I've got 5 titles right here that I think I could write for you. Is that of interest? Isn't that a much better conversation? And then beyond that, instead of just, we're going to set those conversations up for you. But then we're also going to show you how to navigate the next conversation. When the marketer says, I am interested, can you please send me an email? What happens now? We're going to help you with that. And then when they say, that sounds great, can you send me a proposal? How much do you want to charge? What happens now? We're going to help you with that. So the event is going to cover all the conversations, not just, hi, my name is, but yes, I'm interested. What's the scope? What's the pricing? All the stuff to make sure that you not only land the job, but you really have experience now with getting more jobs, because we've got more coming. That's going to start with this event.
And I also think that these marketer roundtables that we're going to be having are, you can think of them almost like simulations. So maybe you're not actually interested in working for the specific companies.
Financial publisher at that table.
Whatever. But the lessons you're going to be learning, because we're going to be pressing them all. What are the do's and don'ts? What do you look like? What impresses you? You're going to be hearing this. Chances are, these lessons are going to apply to any company that you want to write for. It's going to just give you insight and confidence to have these conversations with not just these people. These are more like, guinea pigs for you to kind of see how it works. But then you can apply it anywhere you want, and you can just rinse and repeat. That's what I think is so much more accessible as far as that's another huge benefit of this new format.
So Katie and Rebecca, are you guys saying that if I have never been paid to write before ever, like this is my first boot camp ever, and I've just been through the first part of it and learned all this stuff about copywriting, and then I go to the fast track for copywriting clients, I could actually get my first paid gigs there. I could potentially score my first.
Absolutely. So internally, we're
Awesome.
thinking of it this way: get skills, get paid. Bootcamp is get skills. And really, when we say get skills from bootcamp, anyone, you're going to see, if you've ever been to a live bootcamp, you see Bob Bly sitting in the back of every single session. He's in every session listening because he knows one takeaway elevates him. So just to jump ahead for the questions, the brand newbies, I've never been paid before. This is my first time. I just started a month ago, blah. Yes. For everyone who comes to bootcamp, whether you're brand new or super senior in experience, not necessarily just age, super senior, all you're looking for in a situation like that, this is not a consume all the water from the fire hose and hope it all gets inside without drowning. This is all I need is 1, 2, 3 little nuggets and I level up. So wherever you are on the chain, I want you to think about bootcamp as I'm coming here to level up. So if I'm brand new, it might be learning one new project type and getting one insight into making my writing stronger, right? If you're Bob Bly, it might be one idea that he can try on a package he's never tried before because he learned a new offer from Jason Flatian, who's going to be talking about offers that crush. So it's wherever you are, the goal of the skill building is to level you up. Then we're going to come to the job fair piece of it, or the getting clients, fast track to copywriting clients. And again, brand new, like Bonnie just said, never had a job before. Awesome. Your goal is to get your first client. It's also to learn all the stuff though, right? Like I've never even had I don't even know how to have, what does it even look like? How does that conversation even take place? What questions do I need to ask? We're going to walk you through all of that so that you're having it. It's like you get to try on the shoes and feel like what it feels like to actually talk to clients. But yes, like in job fairs past, there will still be spec assignments. Some clients will have assignments where you can do them. They can look at your work, and if they like it, then they can pay you for it. Other clients, if you're not a spec assignment person, that's okay too. We're not going to force anything on either side. We're going to allow clients to put in their application process. So if I'm a copy chief like John Stolfus, one of our amazing case studies, who went from first-time bootcamp attendee to circle of success, to being a successful writer, to leaving his job, to now a copy chief who has 6 copywriters working for him. He has an application process. He knows exactly what he wants you to do to get in front of him. So we're going to let him pitch that. This is what I want you to do. I want you to send me an email like this. Then I want you to take this step. So no matter where you are in this, brand new, some clients, tons of clients just need one more, you're going to be able to, again, level up your client game as well. Get your first client, get your next client, level up the clients that you currently have through this program.
And I do just want to add to it. So the Getting Clients event, it's a boot camp. So while the marketers are definitely a highlight of it, and they're going to be a big part of it, we're going to have lots of training as well too, like Rebecca says, on all the other Getting Clients insights, and maybe helping you bust through some obstacles, or just understanding how it works. We're going to be layering in all of that from all kinds of great experts and other fellow writers who have been where you are, and like John Stolfus.
Yeah. Bonnie, what are you going to be talking about? Because you're going to be a part of our new fast track to getting clients.
I'll be talking about those beginning stages, actually, like landing your first few paid gigs. And I'm going to make it as unscary as possible.
But I think that, AWAI has done a virtual boot camp in the past. We used to do both sides of things. We used to do in person and virtual. And we had people then getting clients, even though they attended virtually, right? And then we had this little pandemic thing happen, and we had people literally getting clients virtually, online, whatever you want to call it, all year long. How long has this been going on? 10 years now? I don't know, something like that. But, so I think that this is just proven, like the concept is proven. Now you're coming into a space in a room with fellow attendees and just people that are like-minded like you, that are going through these experiences with you, which has such power. And I think this is so obvious to all of us, but I do also want to mention that you might be beginner and hearing concepts that don't resonate with you right now. Everything is still recorded. Everything you can still come back to, so that when you do level up, like Rebecca talked about, you're like, hang on, what was that thing that they talked about then? Now that makes sense to me. Let me go back to it. So whenever you level up, those materials are always there for you and always available for you to access wherever you're at on your journey.
And Jade, that is such a great point to make, especially when you're hearing the marketer roundtables.
Yeah.
Being able to go back and re-listen is key, especially because if it were in a crowded room, you really don't hear it all.
Yes.
And you're just so focused on, okay, what if they talk to me, or what do I have if I have to say next?
You're focused on you instead of them. That's always
so this is all going to be there. And I mean, I feel like we're making we're spending a lot of time on the getting clients because it is so big and so exciting, but Bootcamp itself, really off the charts. We really have been thinking and planning and getting excited for this since 2019.
Yeah.
So we're just putting our hearts and souls in every possible bells and whistle and intention into creating this experience that's going to change careers.
And let's talk about like the core bootcamp, the skill building side from it. What I found so interesting, Jade and I were talking about putting together the agenda and finalizing things. She said, well, Rebecca, the speakers are all asking to turn in their presentations at the last second. I'm like, why is that? She's like, because things are changing so fast. It's funny that I mentioned how fast AWI has evolved in the last couple of months, let alone couple of years since pandemic started, just because the industry has changed. And we're constantly, if those of you who joined us last Tuesday for our kind of town hall meeting of what's happening and what we're doing to respond to it, we are running down the street trying to change and evolve and keep up with this. But it's funny because so are our speakers. All of the experts are like, hey, the world is evolving. Can I turn my presentation like 2 days before to make sure that I have the latest things that I know are working right now? I mean, that's the coolest thing about all of this too, is that we're all in this together. You as the attendees, writers who want to make a living right now, us as the training company who's like, okay, there's so much opportunity. How do we, things like the Getting Clients event, being able to change how we do things to meet the demand and to meet your demand. And then the speaker side of it too, like, well, if they're like this and we're like this, we want to be like this too. And the speakers are coming in saying, we want to be evolving and participating and changing. And I think that's what's going to make this event so unique. Jason Flight, I mentioned him, one of my favorite speakers. I met him at a digital marketer event, and he talked about things like offers in a way that I hadn't heard before. Even though I knew it, I've been in the industry over 20 years. I know a lot of stuff, but you just hear it different times. You might not be working on an offer right now, but in 6 months when you are, because by the way, it's one of the easiest ways to get your foot in the door and level up your client's copy. Imagine if you could walk in and just say, what if I could boost response rate of this thing 20%? That's what Jason's going to show you how to do, just to go in and change. Bonnie writes this amazing sales letter. You just get to swoop in and boost the response simply by changing the offer. That's what he's going to be talking about. But that might seem over your head right now. You're like, I'm working on blog posts. That feels good to me right now. In 6 months, maybe you're working on an offer. And you're like, I'm ready for Jason's presentation. Let me go back. You're going to have access to it to be able to go back. Even though I want you to hear it now, because I want you to learn it, and I want to start getting in there, you're going to be ready for it in a different way come 6 months or whenever it is that you have that client who says, hey, can you? Yes, I can. Go back to Bootcamp and refresh.
And real quick, Rebecca, just since you brought up the speakers, I want to take the opportunity to hype them, Jade, very quickly. If anybody is wondering some of the great names that we have here, obviously she already mentioned Scott Stratton, Jason Flaidland. We also have names you may already know, Elise Bennon, Steve Slongwhite. The opportunity has been opened up for us to bring in more speakers. We don't have that limitation like we used to in the past. So if you wanted to get that full roster, I am going to throw it in the comment section for you, and then I'll give it back to you, Jade. Go ahead.
Well, I just remembered, I had a flashback, ladies. I don't know if you guys remember this in 2019. Okay, hold
on. Let me get my brain back.
2019. Remember that?
Okay, I'm there.
And literally, when Katie was talking about it, all just came back to me when Denise and I were looking for speakers, and we were like, can we get this person in? Can we get that? And you guys said to us, listen, we don't just want that keynote for like the first night. We want you to think about every day, like a keynote, these big names, bring all the people and all the speakers to our members. And that's why, like, when I got so excited just thinking about that, even the first part, like our original bootcamp, because these names and these speakers are so big and so dynamic and are going to bring so much to our members that alone, like, makes me so excited for everybody to hear. But I want to know, because, we've been very familiar with it. I don't know, Bonnie, do you have a favorite of somebody that you're super excited to hear from as a writer?
Oh my gosh. Well, Jason Fladlin, for one, is going to be awesome. And some of the other like newer names, personally, just people who I haven't heard from. Like, I love hearing from the Bob Blyes and the Lori Hallers and the people that we've had around and having their insights every time. But some of the new names I'm really excited about too, because there's some like very like forefront kind of the industry, new, bringing in all these fresh ideas that I'm really excited about.
I think that's the coolest thing too, guys. So when you think about, how do we come up with our speakers, right? How does that happen? Well, there are great trainers, right? So we bring our faculty on stage and we choose our faculty a specific way. We are looking for people who are in demand in the field, who can also teach, which is like a really rare hybrid. Someone who's actually doing it and making money at this and can teach. That's kind of the AWI way of selecting trainers. But then when it comes to additional speakers to round out the faculty and bring in outside insights, we just let Jade go. So she doesn't go for like the, I just need some big names and put them on an agenda and that's all I need. No, she's like ours. Talk about a fangirl. If Jade picks you to be on our stage, she's probably also stalking you and has watched every TED Talk and YouTube thing that you've ever presented. She knows you inside out. And I love that about Jade because she's not, again, it can be very easy to think, oh, just slap a bunch of names on an agenda, you're good to go. No, she has such heart into, is this person AWI, first of all? Like, are they going to deliver at the level and care about our members the way we do? We don't want them just talking at you. We want them in this, like to feel where you are. We want them meeting you where you are right now with empathy and enthusiasm and the desire to help you cross over from wherever you are to the next level. But then they have to have something that's relevant, right? Yeah. Like you can have a great speaker where you're like, wow, he was amazing. I don't know what I'm going to do with that information, but that was a great presentation. It's not like that. Jade's like, no, here's what he talks about and here's why. And I've talked to him. He can't just give his regular presentation. He has to give it like this because for our members, what they really want to know is how to apply it to like this. That's the passion and enthusiasm and heart that goes into planning this event. When Jade talked about Terry Trespatio, is that how you say her last name?
Yes.
She was like, this lady is the bee's knees. And she used this South African thing. I use bee's knees. She probably came up with some phrase that we don't know what it is because she always brings these things in the meeting. But she was like, you have to go watch her. She's amazing. Like, it not just from like, oh, she's a great speaker, but like this is what our writers need to know. They need to take this and how to apply it to their business to get out of the whole niching and passion and all the things that are kind of cliche. Like, just do this instead, and this will simplify. This will open the door. This will get them past that roadblock. That's the level of attention that Jade has when coming up with who to invite on the stage to round out our faculty members. It's really unique.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
I'm protective. That's all it is. I'm so protective of our members, and these people, they need to be first and foremost like good, nice people that I can feel comfortable with putting on the stage in front of our members and giving them the AWAI stamp of approval, and then be able to talk to writers, right? Because it's one thing to be a marketer and to be in a lot of our industry, but can you talk to somebody that writes? Can you relate to them? Have you had to reach out to a client and got, that feeling that everybody feels in the beginning? So yeah, it's super important to be able to be AWAI and to talk to our members 100%. And
to just be really super smart.
Yes.
And really super good at what they do. So it's always such a thrill for us because a lot of times it's people that I haven't met before, but I've become fangirl of as well, thanks to Jade.
You know what I also love? I think that when people meet our audience, like our members, they also become fans of our members, right?
Haven't you? So true. It's so funny how much they gush over you guys being the AWI members. Like even people like Russ Henneberry, when he first started teaching for us, he had been on so many stages, worked at Salesforce and all the stuff, right? He's like, those AWI members, man, they just get in your heart and they work so hard and he's like, I will do whatever it takes to make them successful because of who they are. Like, it's just a better.
That's like every speaker that we've brought in, every expert walks away with that same feeling.
I love it.
There. Yep.
And that mindset that they come in with and that we ingrain in their heads and that the members are so perfectly able to push into their heads is something that we internally have evolved over the last year and a half. Our big focus has been separating those two buckets. We talk about it in all the time, in all the programs, skill building and clients. And we have focused so much internally on getting that client information and making sure we cover every single base. And I mean, now the evolution is right there in front of you. You see, we have this 2-day event. And you did mention Terry Trespicio. I actually met her in an Elise Benham program earlier this year. And she is incredible. And from a substance standpoint, she's bringing very real information to the table, not stuff that you're like you said, Rebecca, how do I use this? It's very much uncovering things and putting it in real terms that are very easy to understand.
I'm sorry. We talk about the buckets all the time, right? Business building, skill building. That's the connection for success. I didn't even realize until right this second. I'm having a big, not an aha moment, a big duh moment that we came into this intuitively. I was so excited about spinning off the Getting Client event just because the opportunity is so much bigger. Like, why would I go after 40 marketers when I can go after hundreds? Why would I only have 3 hours when I can have 3 days? Like, why don't we do more for our members to get them paid faster? Never connected the two.
Your buckets that you invented.
I know. But
the fact that you did it unconsciously is so reflective of how this whole company's operated.
Just proves that you live that philosophy.
We work for you guys. Like, this is, if there is a way to get you over a hurdle, if there's a way to present an opportunity, to bring you something, to get you paid fast, whatever it is that you need, we're just like this army behind you, ready to go.
Let's do it. All right. This is what's on tap for today. Let's figure it out. Yeah. And I do love, all the new speakers that are coming are so great, but then we're going to have Steve Slonwhite, who is one of the best teachers we've ever had. Nick Usborne, Bob Bly, Carleen Anglade-Cole, Lori Haller. I mean, so many of our rock staples, right? like the real foundation of our teaching methodology. They're all going to be there. They're all going to be bringing their best games. And again, talking about what's happening now. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And we did have some questions coming in regarding some of the more technical aspects. Obviously, this experience is going to be brand new for everybody, but it's going to be a lot more than just popping into a webinar and sitting there. There will be some interactive elements. So, Jade, you've been closer to it than I have. I don't know if you want to give some more information about that.
So we're using a new platform this year called Socio, and like I mentioned, we have a new team member as well called Valentina, and she's like, "Anna can do this. Do you want that? Yes. Can I do this? Yes, we want that." And let me tell you, as much as it is important to interact with speakers and marketers, I tell you, one of some of the richest experience that our members ever have is interacting with each other, right? And so this really brings that to like another level, to where we are going to have games, we are going to be competitive, we are going to have conversations with each other. And so it's like, there's so much richness within this and within this platform that it allows us to really create this community of all of us together in this experience for 3 days. So yes, we're going to have the sessions which you're going to see and you're going to learn from. We're going to then dive into Q&As with different panels. That's another thing that we're layering in. So it's like session panels, learning from fellow members. Then you're going to go into a chat room, and then that evening you're going to have like a gamification night. So yes, there is so many different layers to this and so many different dimensions. That's what I keep thinking of, like when I see the agenda, which we are daily refining and adding to. Let me tell you, it's wild. But I see dimension, and I think that no matter what you like, no matter what you enjoy, no matter what style of learning, there's something for everybody. But I really hope everybody leans super heavy into the community, because that will be a forever thing. And that we have seen again from the whole of AWAI. And then it was like, oh, well, there's this pandemic and we can't be together. But look at this last year. I think we've all seen that that there's no limitations on there when it comes to community, that we created this virtual community of like-minded people. It's just,
and I know you're going to be working so hard at fostering that and encouraging that. I saw somebody, I think some EG or somebody asked, will Mark Ford and Paul Hollingshead be like around a virtual bar? and we'll come up with something. We don't know exactly
I
when
love
or
that
where,
idea.
but trust me, you will have access to all the speakers in, if not exactly the same way, in a way that's actually going to be more inclusive and better.
Because we never used to even be able to do Q&A. Do you guys remember? Like, we might have had like 10 minutes at the end when maybe somebody could like come up to the mic, and then like if you saw them in the hallway or whatever it was, right? It was very difficult. Again, this is one of the limitations and the shackles that we're free of now, to create these buckets of time for dedicated to getting your questions answered. And now we don't have that problem anymore. So it's really exciting. It just feels like we've opened up this huge doorway where there's just more, and that's what I see reflected in the agenda and the experience and everything that we're creating. Because again, we've talked about this like 10 times about how many years this has been going on. This has not been AI, yes,
24 years of bootcamp.
But I think as well, just this particular one, because it has been rolling, for a couple of years, we have not been stagnant on many factors. It's been adding on and doing more. And right. It just, and the more things that come up, it's like, okay, well, now we need to add that thing. And then this happens in the industry. Let's talk about that. So it's so layered and so rich. So
the timing really has just been a benefit for this group, this class, this bootcamp family that's gonna be here. They're really getting the benefit of all this extra time and attention, and just this wanting so strongly to make just such a great experience for everybody.
So let's run through some of these questions. So David, yes, there will be a bar. As of now, challenge accepted. We will have a virtual bar.
Yes.
And we're just got to figure out how to make it fun and somehow get into your house and deliver cocktails. I'm not sure about that piece, but there will be a virtual bar.
Put that on Valentina's list.
Yeah.
She's really good at that stuff.
EG says, are your marketers going to be open to international writers or more US based? I don't know. Well, that's a good question though. And we will be, just so you know, kind of little secret spoiler, we have a big plan that's coming after bootcamp, which all the people at the client's bootcamp will have access to this other thing. But let's just say you're going to have access to thousands of marketers for all year. Don't want to get into the details, but it will be international based, and we will be helping marketers learn how to work with international writers also. So there's a lot coming on in the next couple of months for you guys.
Can I just say to that point though, I feel like sometimes there's certain limitations that our writers put in front of themselves. And I think that sometimes that international thing can be one of them, right? I've heard of so many of our writers, like in all parts of the world, all nationalities, getting work. And so I think that I never want anybody to put the age limitation on them, put the a location limitation on themselves. I think we want you to.
It's not anything I ever ask when I'm working with the new writers. I mean, if we're social, if we're just chit chatting and getting to know each other, say, "Oh, where are you from?" But it has no bearing on any writers that I hire.
Me neither. As long as, and those of you who are foreign language is your first language, as long as you can write in English, you can write for a US based company. You're just a business. Like I'm paying you through like any other business, through Venmo or PayPal, or sending you a check to your business. So it doesn't really matter where you are. And for those of you who do have another language as your first language, you could work two ways. You could work for US based companies who are writing in that language, because who better to write for them than you? You know the nuances of the language. We can't just translate. And when you think about what we teach you when it comes to persuasion, so much of it is being able to have a conversation, right? And to really understand the prospect. I don't necessarily understand the prospect if I'm not from the same area that they're in. There could be cultural differences and nuances in the way that we communicate. So you can't just translate, right? You have to understand the intention over here in English is like this. Well, the intention in my country might be like that. This might be a different way of doing it. So you bring mad benefit being a lot, of benefit to US-based companies looking to get into your space. Or you can write for companies in your area as well. This is not, we might be called American Writers and Artists Institute, but it doesn't mean that you have to actually be in America.
And it's universal. The lessons that you learn apply to human beings everywhere.
Yeah, I had to get on that soapbox because when I see those restrictions, it's like
EG's also asking if the sessions will be recorded so we don't have to miss out. Yes, yes, yes. And you'll have access.
And all of that is accessed through your member page. Once you're
Yeah.
finished, everything will be up on there, as well as the Socio app. So we're excited to get more into the Bootcamp experience, the new evolution. We also had a question. Rebecca EG asked, "Is Bootcamp going to be in October from now on?" Talking about the future of Bootcamp.
Well, what's interesting, we don't know.
Yeah.
I like May. Especially if we're going to get back to in-person again at some point. May is great because it's beautiful in South Florida. There are no hurricanes and things like that, which is always a nice thing. But this Getting Clients Bootcamp, this will probably be the only year that we do it this way, which is another huge benefit of getting in this year. Because we split it at the last second like this into 2 events, you actually get both. So anyone who registered, there are people coming, hundreds of people who registered in 2019 for this event and are still coming to this event and now get 2 events for what they signed up for then. So we rolled through with that. If you sign up for Bootcamp today, and tomorrow I think is the last day for the early bird registration, you will get both events. We are going to sell the second event. We are going to sell the Clients Bootcamp. So if you wait, you would then have to pay for that bootcamp and miss out on the bootcamp. But if you register now through our bootcamp registration, because it's split off, you get both. So not only do you save $1,500 off registration because of early bird pricing, but you get the second event as part of your registration. Next year, there's a good chance we will split the 2. I'm not saying this is permanent, possibly, like forever, but there's a good chance that bootcamp would take place in May and the Getting Clients event would take place in October, just to give kind of a full rotation for the year. So if you're going to do it, this is the year to do it because it's straight virtual. You'll get everything. Everybody will be in the exact same place you are. To answer ahead the question about the marketers, will they be able to see us or strictly text-based? It will be text-based as far as your questions go. So this is a great year again because it's a level playing field for all. But with our new setup, you will have profiles. So just quickly to jump ahead to the marketing piece of it, they will be able to connect with you. So let's say Jade says to somebody in the chat, I actually have extensive experience in this. I'm curious about A, B, and C. The marketer is like, oh, I gotta follow up with that Jade Trueblood. Okay, awesome. They can then go into your profile. So when you're asking questions, it's just like a preparatory thing, be thinking about that because they can see your name. So it's a great opportunity for you to kind of tip like who you are, kind of set up a little bit of experience thing. I've been reading your newsletter for 17 years. I'm so excited. And then I ask your question, who better to write for you than me? I happen to be your audience. Here's my question. Now, all of a sudden, the marketers are also taking notes going, oh yeah, I need to follow up with that person. You will actually have a profile online. It's just going to be a better event because imagine from the marketer's standpoint, I meet 50 people. Probably meant more like 200 people. And I heard names and I maybe got business cards and they just like you are overwhelmed at like all the stuff, right? Then it really comes down to spec assignments and follow-up. That first meeting at job fair really wasn't much because it's all you really had time for was like, hi, my name is, and I can't remember. I'm not sitting in a place where I can take notes or anything. But at the marketing roundtables, I am because I'm in a virtual environment also with my notepad and my pen that I always have. So I can be taking notes too when you're asking questions. So strictly text-based, but you will have a profile, totally optional for you to as deep as you want it to be. Your photo can be there if you want it to, it doesn't have to be, but you'll be able to communicate. And again, just a little preparatory to set yourself up for success. Go ahead and layer in that stuff when you're asking your questions. Go ahead and make your name known to the market. If you really want to work for somebody, go ahead and sell yourself in that Q&A. That's definitely what I would do. And that made me think of that. So great job. Yes, Bonnie.
So the marketers and speakers and everybody will be able to see your profile if they want to. They can see your photo and whatever information that you put on there if they want to.
You choose to put up. Yep. So they can go afterward and say, who is this person? That person sounded really like somebody I want working for me.
And that's
you can be in your pajamas. And then your profile
really is all about the follow-up.
Yes.
And I think you're going to have more fodder to work with in your follow-up because again, if you're just meeting somebody with 50 other people around, you're not going to be hearing the insights and the tips and the specifics that the marketers will be telling you in the same way that you will in this format.
And let me tell you, this all ties right back into our part 1 because this is exactly what Scott Stratton is going to be talking about. Like that there's more ways to put yourself out there through engaging, like we're talking about questions. I mean, I know that we see our members, and when they're asking good questions, when they're participating, when they're engaging, we've hired them because of that, right? And so that's exactly what he's tapping into. And I think that it's lessons and skills like that in part one that you are also going to be able to take and use in part two when you come to these roundtables, when you can have these interactions. So again, why the marrying of the two and the splitting of the two at the same time is so beneficial to everybody.
And I love the idea that we brought up at the very beginning, which was the breakouts, like going off to a separate area to elaborate on a discussion. Because one big part of bootcamp and what it's always been is the networking. It's not just listening to speakers, but also communicating with each other, communicating with people and subjects you're interested in and about. And we are definitely giving all of that opportunity and more through the Socio platform with the ability to go into these smaller breakout rooms. Right. So on that link, it is on your screen, awaibootcamp.com. The timer is counting down right now. That early bird registration is good for another 36 hours. It is closing tomorrow night at midnight. So you'll get both the Fast Track to Copywriting Success Bootcamp, and we're giving you the other bucket as well. The Getting Clients Bootcamp is coming with that. You see the dates on the screen. All of that information and more is on the awaibootcamp.com site.
I did see a question about those who registered for in-person. Is there a discount now that we're going straight virtual? The only time we sold in person was back in 2019. And those people were given a full credit last year. So if that's you and you missed that email or emails that we sent, you actually have a full credit for your registration on AWAI. So you can apply it to anything and you still get to come to bootcamp, both events. So anyone who's registering for bootcamp, we've only been selling the virtual option this year anyways, because the in-person had sold out. Anyone switching from in-person to virtual, you were given a full credit back in 2020 for your 2019 purchase, just because as a, oh my gosh, we're all in a pandemic, what do we do situation. That's how we handled it last year. So just call Member Success and they'll be able to set you up with any of that information. But again, you do get both events now. They're both valued at the same price as in-person would have been. And again, now it's 2 instead of a little job fair. It's an extra 3-day event, which is super exciting, and we're happy to be able to do this.
I love this question from Erica. She's saying, how do we prepare to get the most out of bootcamp?
Let us tell you.
And again, we started talking about this in 2019, and we have had amazing webinars pretty much every month since then, doing deep dives into specific questions to get you registered. So as soon as you register, if you're not registered yet, as soon as you register, you're going to get access to this member page that just has fantastic, really useful, really in-depth conversations with experts that I recommend you do at least one a week between now and bootcamp. That's going to get you prepared. Really dig into everything else on that member page. Join the Facebook group, get talking to people. Jade, what else would you add to that?
I was just going to say, Katie, there's so many webinars now that there's probably less weeks until bootcamp than there are webinars.
Right, so you're going to have Labor Day weekend do too.
Yeah, no, there's. I just was thinking about that as I read Erica's question, because we've been so focused on like the live 2 parts that when you buy right now, there's so much content there for you to go through. I have to say, one of my favorite parts of it is we put like profiles up of member spotlights in the past, so successful members who've taken the stage and spoken for 10 to 15 minutes about how they did it, right? And they're so inspirational. And I think that sometimes that's just all we need is a little bit of inspiration to light a fire under. So those are on there as well. So I think those are my favorite straightaway reasons.
And honestly, I don't want you guys getting overwhelmed. So bootcamp is going to be like a fire hose. Like you wouldn't go run a marathon the day before the marathon, right? You prepare for a marathon in advance and then you rest and get ready for the marathon. I don't want you getting in there and going, I have to watch 27 hours of webinars before I even go. No, I think what Jade said, I wrote down while you were asking that question, I wrote down mindset. I want you to get square in your mindset right now. If you were with us last week on our webinar, our kind of town hall, open house, whatever you wanted to call it, we talked about this learn, do, grow phases. If you didn't get to it, we should post that in here. I think that conversation would be valuable for you all. where are you in the stage of success? Are you at the very beginning of the, do I really want this? Are you, and that's that learn stage. Are you in the do stage of, can I really do this? And that's important. If you're coming into boot camp saying, can I really do this? I want you walking out the other side saying, I can do this, because that's that final stage of grow of how far can we take this? I want you to go into the getting clients event with that feeling. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, we're going to post this video. Watch this one session from Tuesday, because I do think it'll square up kind of where are you coming into this? What mindset? Anything by Ted Capshaw that you see, I'm guessing he's done something.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get you square in your mind also. Get rooted again in what it is that you want. Why are you doing this? And then I want you to walk into boot camp with like that ready to go. Like, this is why I want this. This is why I'm here. Because boot camp is the thing. It's the catalyst for most of our success stories. Success. If you go through our case studies page, almost everybody references boot camp as the turning point in their career. Virtual, in-person, doesn't matter. It is the turning point, because it just being around hundreds of like-minded people who are just like you at varying levels of where they are, either brand new with you, like, what is this all about? It's so big, it's so real, this is overwhelming, or further down, oh, I was just like you 2 years ago. I remember my first boot camp. Let me show you the way. Or further down, now on the stage saying, I remember what it was like 10 years ago. And man, I'm living my why now. I've crossed all the way over and I'm doing the thing that I set out when I was in your shoes when I first attended boot camp. Get there, like get square with where you are. And like Katie said, start connecting and finding people. But if you just walk in that first day with, what are you doing here? Why do you want this? The rest will just you'll see what you've got to see. The lessons that you need to learn will pop out. If you're kind of square with those glasses of like, what am I looking for? You'll start to be able to see, because it's so much, you don't need it all. But the pieces that you need will show up. The other thing is, because getting clients and building business is such a mind thing for a lot of you, the September training that we are doing to prepare you for bootcamp are conversations with clients. So we wanted to just get like all the fiery kind of, we're going to talk to clients out of the way. And so Pam and I are going to walk through a session where we're just going to cover like all the conversations, what to expect when you're expecting talking to clients. We're going to walk through all that stuff to demystify all of it, so that you're just comfortable in having those conversations, talking about money conversations, talking about scope of project. What if your fees are too high? Like all the things that are in your head about money and conversations, we're going to talk all about that in September. So don't go to the page and feel like you have to consume it all. Just get square in your mindset with what you're doing and why, and then we'll take you from there. And I promise on the other side, you're going to feel like, whoa, I got momentum. And then we'll talk about how to keep that momentum going through the end of the year.
I would add, just I would treat it, boot camp, like you are attending a workshop, and so I would try to cancel if you have any work commitments or any personal commitments. I would try to block your calendar as much as possible so that you can be as focused. You don't want to have the distractions of your home life interfering with you getting this. So I think you still treat it like you are attending a very important event, which you are. So that's something to start preparing for as well.
That's so interesting, Katie. Like even like for the in-person people, even though you're now saving all your time, travel, and money for going to a hotel, if you were budgeting a hotel, you might still go to a hotel if that's something, or somewhere like set up something like, if these doors are closed, family, I'm at an event. I'm not, just like I wasn't going to be here in person, I'm not going to be here now either. I love that mindset of
I'm
and our members are doing that. Can I tell you that? Because I have insight into our Facebook group, and we have people doing that. They're like, we booked the hotel. I'm still going to the hotel. I still took the time off work. I'm keeping my time off work. I am dedicating 100%. This time and this place to this. And it's investing in yourself and in your career. I've spoken about this in a couple other platforms. We are so quick to give to other people and to make that time and effort for other people. And I want everybody now for that dedicated amount of time to do it for themselves. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mindy, actually, I had lunch with Mindy McCourse last week. She's like, I'm so bummed I'm not going to get to see you in person. Do you want to come to Albuquerque and watch boot camp together? I'm like, maybe.
I was just wondering that, like, if people know each other or get to know each other, they could have watch parties.
Watch parties.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Safely, of course.
Yes, safe. But you can do watch parties together online now again.
Yeah,
That's
this
true.
is all
Yeah.
going to be one huge watch party.
Yes, I can't wait. Can't wait.
And Jade, you brought up the Facebook group. So once you register, you'll get access to that as well.
Yes.
We do a lot of things in there. A lot of discussion happens. And to reiterate the point about the overwhelm, we're having a lot of conversation in the comments right now regarding Circle of Success membership. This is not something like you need to get in the right mindset to find out where you are. But this bootcamp event is something for people of all experience levels, no matter where you're coming in from this. If you already have clients and are looking to grow to that next level, like Rebecca said, whichever one of those avenues you fall in, this still works for you. You will still be able to get a ton out of this. So don't think, oh, I'm not ready for boot camp, or I'm not there yet, or this is not advanced enough for me, because that's not going to be the case for any of you.
Two-thirds every year, about 2/3 are first timers and 1/3 are returning. So when I say returning, I mean this is my 7th boot camp, my 8th boot camp, my 9th boot camp. And it's interesting. It's not that they're just going to like, hey, I'm at boot camp. You see them aggressively writing. You will sit, if you were in person, you would have been sitting next to Bob Bly, next to Marcella Allison. Everybody is there to learn, because as you get more advanced in your career, yes, there's diminishing returns as far as like how much you can learn with the amount of time that you spend. But one thing can trip response rate or open up a new avenue or a new way of thinking that bumps your income to the next level. Like that's what the old dogs, the senior experienced people are looking for, is that next kind of new thing. Newer people, you're going to move faster just because everything is relevant. And so it's like, you don't have to learn it all, but you can quickly grab the 5 things that are for you and kick up. So your jump is going to be way higher if you're brand new, just because you got a lot higher to climb. Whereas somebody who's at the end, not the end, but like further down the path, they just have to make a little incremental gain to kick their stuff up a lot. So it's, wherever you are, bootcamp will meet you where you are. You're going to take away from it what kicks you to the next level. And that's our goal. That's what
that's all you need. That's really all. That's a huge win. Just getting to that next rung. That's a huge win. And then we keep going, because you're never going to be done.
No.
I mean, we all know that, right? It's not a secret.
It's one of the
that's the beauty of it. That's the excitement of it.
Bootcamp is one of those things, like I'm always so afraid to overhype anything, but it's one of those things that always exceeds expectations. I'm never afraid to go out and say, like, it's going to be amazing. Like, whatever you think it's going to be better than that.
Especially this year.
Just go do it and see it. Our guarantee, by the way, this year is amazing, because there's the 2 events. You can literally go to, normally you can only go to the first day. And then if you're not happy for any reason or no reason at all, you get your money back, blah, blah. This is like, go through the whole freaking thing. You can go to the whole boot camp, call member success, and be like, it wasn't really what I thought. And they'll give you a whole credit for your whole thing. And you can still use your bootcamp fee towards a certification or anything else after that first Fast Track to Copywriting Success bootcamp. We're that confident. So just come. And then you can decide if you want to stay or if it was worth your time. I'm guessing that it was.
I wanted to address Tim's question about agenda. So I would just want you to book these days, because we keep realizing that we don't have these limitations anymore. So things are moving and shifting. We have people all over the country, all over the world. So we want to be able to bring sessions at all different times to you. So there is a new agenda as soon as you're on the member page to take a look at the most up to date. But we are constantly not only moving and shifting, but adding. So there are some changes, but I would just book out these days. So
yeah, the days won't change. The times may fluctuate, may vary.
Exactly.
Anybody that's been following this process from the start has seen the evolution so far. So just make sure you
we're
show
on
up
like draft 25 of the agenda.
We're on a journey.
My favorite is when the documents come through as final, and then final version 2.
Seriously, I mean final.
We do have about 5 minutes left in our Bootcamp Bash. So if anybody has any last second questions, please get them in. We would love to answer them. The link again is on the screen. I'll make sure to post it in the comments section. We had a question. Cedar asked, do we get an actual certification? So this is less of an individual teaching course and more of a full big experience. So there's nothing really to be certified in for Bootcamp. But if you just go to that website and look at some of the speakers, you'll see that it's kind of covering a ton of different topics.
This is full blown conference. This is like you're not testing or training at the end like you do with our certifications. it would be impossible. Nobody could pass the test if we tested you on all of Bootcamp. It's way too much information.
And within each hour, you're going to have specific takeaways that you can apply. And the variety, that's one of the beauties of Bootcamp, is just this variety, this introduction to these experts that you just can't meet anywhere else.
And as Bonnie's hat implies, we are certified in fun. So there'll be a lot of fun involved in Bootcamp and all the shenanigans that go along with it. So.
And then to answer
I'm guessing there's a bunch of surprises in store also.
Always.
Lots of surprises. Surprises that we don't even know about yet that we're going to come up with like that Wednesday.
We're surprised.
Like the bar. Surprise, Valentina, there's going to be a virtual bar.
This one, as far as the question about covering UX and planning content for customers' journey in your bootcamp, we go deeper into that, into our actual content training program. So we have a certification on planning out content for the customer journey. But I would guess at least a quarter of the speakers are naturally going to talk about UX and customer journey. Because it's not something that like doesn't apply. It applies to all forms of content. User experience is at front of mind of everybody. So they're going to constantly be talking about it. But we do have a very specific UX certification. And we also have a very specific content certification that goes into planning the content for that journey. So that's something that you might be interested in. But they will all be talking about it, because you can't talk about content these days without talking about customer journey. And you can't talk about anything without talking about user experience. It's become like everybody's talking about it.
Yep.
And Jade, in regards to creating your profile, is that something that they do after registering, or they do that the day of? What do you know about that?
So we're going to try and set up that for everybody on the Monday. So the dates that you see are the 12th is a Tuesday. Monday will be like our let's get in there and let's work out all the kinks day. So you'll be able to do that on the 11th and make sure that you're able to access the platform and do all the things. So that way, when it comes to starting on Tuesday, you're ready to go without working through any technical.
It's like my kids meet the teacher. Like, can you walk the halls and find your classroom? That's what we're doing on Monday.
And Jake has the best voiceovers for all of those things. So Jake will be leading you through, make it easy as pie for you. So yeah,
I'll give you all the tutorials, the best tutorials. You'll have a solid A+ profile in no time. We're sure of it. So be with us on Tech Test Monday while we work out those kinks. Rebecca is asking, Rebecca is asking, when will more specs be posted? So this will be in regards to the client side.
As we get closer to job fair. So if people are writing specs right now, like if I was a marketer hiring, if I'm hiring for something today, it's very different than what I'm looking for in October. So you'll start to see more of that process show up later in September as they're looking forward to the end of the year. What do we need right now? So later towards the end of September, we actually have a big meeting about this afternoon to get our marching orders together for the getting clients piece of it. But we want as many assignments as possible for you guys, but also pay attention to the application processes that don't have spec assignments. Because a lot of marketers these days, and what we're teaching now as part of AWI, is creating a really great application process to make sure that writers, you don't need to worry about samples and things. This is what we're telling the marketers. It's really about the writer. Like, can they write for you in your voice? Are they enthusiastic? How do you figure out who the right writer is? It's not some sample that they wrote for some other client back in whenever. It's what they're doing right now and the way that they're conversing with you. And so we're really pushing marketers and educating and helping them build application processes to find the ideal writer. It's almost like a matchmaking service that you work with clients that you're a fit for also, that you're excited to work with, and they find the writers that are right for them as well. So we'll be moving more from we will have spec assignments, but we want to make sure that clients who don't really understand spec assignments or aren't set up for them can find their best people also. So there'll be two ways of applying for all of these jobs.
Susanna Fitzgerald, I recognize that name.
Yeah.
From our Spec Challenge winners in the past. I hope you're coming, Suzanne. I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
She's asking, will we have a full list of attending marketers before the fast track?
Yep.
We will. We're going to be adding to it. And these will be the marketers that are participating in the roundtables. We'll definitely have that up. And then there's going to be a big surprise.
Yeah.
And a lot more companies.
Yeah.
We did.
Sorry, the schedule. Are you asking about the schedule changes?
Yeah, Yeah, that's what we did address the schedule changes. There,
We got it,
just make sure you're
Melissa.
carving out time for those days. The times may change here or there, but the days will not. So the 12th to the 15th and the 20th through the 22nd.
Because now we don't have
Everything's
to make big accommodations for like, can we get 500 people out of the hotel eating dinner and coming back and settled again? We don't have to have like these set big bathroom breaks. You can just pause it and go to the bathroom. You get to go to the bathroom whenever you want without having to walk out of a room full of
One
500
more
people wondering where you're going.
Yeah.
So the schedule is changing because now we can do more stuff because we don't have those flight limitations and people are leaving and it's like this. And now, because we get these ideas, we're like, oh, we could just have another session at the exact same time because we can record one. It's not like we have to have another ballroom for that other session. We can go ahead and do them both now. We didn't have to decide for you which one we think is better. You get to decide and you get the other one. Either way, we can actually have more now at the event because we're straight virtual. So the agenda is changing. Who's speaking when will also start to change a little bit. But if you just block those days, you'll be safe.
Yes.
All right, that is the top of the hour. So this has been extremely exciting, extremely enthusiastic.
I'm so excited we get to do it. Like,
very pumped, very pumped. It's gone through so many changes internally, so you can see it in Rebecca's face that we're finally able to come out and tell everybody what the final plan is, the final V2.
Final V2 final.
But I think if you do have any other questions, we do invite you to contact us on the Facebook page or at our contact
Call
us
member
page.
services, member success.
They are up to date on all of the latest and greatest with the Bootcamp and the newer clients events. So please ask them if you have any further questions. We'll be around. But if anybody doesn't have any,
I do want to just throw this out there. If there's
Sure.
if there's anything that's stopping you from coming, if there's some reason in your head that you think now isn't the right time, or for whatever it is, send me a note. I'd love to talk it through with you. You can send it at askkatie@awai.com. I really feel so strongly that I don't want I don't want you to regret not doing this. And I think if you do miss this one, it will be a regret, because it is going to meet you where you are and just help you get to that next level. It's going to help you break through. So we all of us here want to do everything in our power to make that happen for you.
So definitely check it out today. Registration closes tomorrow for the early bird. It would be silly to wait past tomorrow because you're just going to pay more. It's kind of why would you waste the opportunity to get in? So make sure you go today, make a decision today. Call member success. There are payment plans also. So if, this feels like I want to do this, but I'm just sign up for the payment plan. Go attend the event. Remember, you can attend the full event and see if what we said was what we said, right? There's really no risk to you. So definitely check it out today. Call member success. If you've got something like Katie said that's kind of like sticking you, ask them the questions that you have. They're so knowledgeable and some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Just ask. Go to Copywriting Insiders, to our Facebook group. Ask about that. I'm guessing everybody's going to say, yes, you should attend. Spoiler alert. But they can help you answer the one question that you have. Like, what's that thing that's holding you back? Definitely check it out today, though, because registration closes tomorrow for the early bird. So I've got Jackie pinging my watch saying, make sure you tell them there's payment plans.
We're down to 35 hours now, so I did post that clickable link in the comments section. It's here on the screen as well. And for everybody here, I want to thank each of you for carving out some time to talk about the Bootcamp event.
Here.
Our pleasure.
Super
We're going to
excited.
keep talking about it.
Yeah, no, this conversation doesn't end today. This conversation does not end with this video, and I did see a couple people wondering if this video would have a replay. It will. It'll be posted immediately on the Facebook page, so you can go back and listen to any information that you may have missed. But I think that's going to do it for us for now. Thank you so much for joining us, and on behalf of everybody at AWAI, we bid you adieu. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, guys.